So what we're going to look at is how to engage more users on Android TV and earn more revenue on Android TV. And look at all the new features around Android TV and all the things that we're doing with it. So a quick overview of the topics for today's discussion. First, we're going to look at what we're doing as Android and Google Play in the living room and our overall strategy around that. Then we're going to look at the importance of having a really, really good TV strategy and why that's important for your business. And then finally, we're going to look at specific ways where you can drive engagement and grow revenue. So that third bullet, that's the most important juicy part. So stay until then. So to begin, we're going to show you all the different things that we're doing with Android and Google Play and walk you through a little update of our business and walk you through all the new announcements that we've made recently here at I/O and in previous months from there. So taking a step back, we look at how Android has evolved. We started off with phones. We expanded to tablets. We moved to watches, cars, and TVs. And we went into virtual reality headsets. And the concept behind it is one unified platform for our developers to build on and to easily interact with their audiences on. So when we think about this platform, how do we distribute content? Well, Google Play is the consistent place where you can distribute your content. One interface, it's consistent for your audiences, and one developer console where you can push out all of your updates and all the different things that you need to do within it. So how do we think about our living room strategy? Well, to be honest, there are many form factors. And the reason that we do this is we want to make sure that different people have exactly what they need. So when we think about how we discuss this with our developers, we tell developers you can create one app for both experiences that will vary for our users who have different needs and different ways that they can get content into the living room. So when we think about Android TV, we have a deeper experience. We think of use of remote control, native elements to navigate, and content is searchable in a TV UI. Similarly, when we think about Chromecast, you take your existing app, you take a simple interface, and you easily push that content onto the big screen. It's available both on iOS and Android. So when we think about that living room strategy, you have an Android app. You can turn that Android app into a TV app. You can supplement that Android app into a cast-enabled app. This is something for everyone and something for everyone's different viewing habits. So the focus of this talk is Android TV. So we want to take a quick first step back to tell you how we've extended Android TV into the living room. So Android TV initially launched with Nexus Player back at the end of November 2014. It helped extend Android into the living room. With that, we use that exact same reference across all of our different OEMs to deliver a successful UX. Different hardware for OEMs for different people, depending on their choice, just like we initially had for phone and tablet. And again, the Play Store was there, and all of our great Play apps and our Google apps were all within there. So all of the elements for Android were hitting the big screen. So as we've gone through this journey, there have been partnerships with some of the top global brands in the world across different countries and across multiple form factors. Our ecosystem is really focused on 3 different areas. First, we have smart TVs. Then we have streaming players. And then we have operators. So we have some of the partnerships with some of the top OEMs in each vertical, as you see here. Sony is a big partner on our smart TV side. Aris is another one in our streaming player set-top box that we initially announced. And Sling TV and Dish Network is another one that we announced last at CES. And there's many others that are coming. 20 of our top operators will be launching later in 2017. So one of the things that you heard about in the keynote was the growth of Android TV. So Android TV activations over the last 12 months have more than doubled on a year-over-year monthly average. And we have 1 million activated Android TVs for every 60 days. So a lot of this growth is attributed to the great OEMs that have come on our platform and have distributed the platform for us. And with that, we have a number of great apps for every type of user. Personally, I love sports. So we recently had ESPN and NFL joining our ecosystem of apps. But we have others, from European apps like Canal to news apps like CNBC, and 3,000 plus apps across the ecosystem that we're very, very proud of for our developer partners to bring.
Thank you, Serge. So, thank you. As you can see, it's been a great year for Android TV, and moving forward, Google will continue to invest in its different living room solutions. Since we launched Android TV 3 years ago, we've also seen that the users are becoming more and more demanding when it comes to their TV experience. They expect TV everywhere with seamless access to their account on all their devices. They also expect high-quality content with 4K resolution. They expect the ability to get their content anytime with on-demand services. But this tells us also that TV still continues playing an essential role when it comes to how people consume media content. Among others, here are a number of reasons why we believe that TV should be at the center of your strategy. So first of all, while mobile viewing are growing exponentially, we also see that TV still dominates when it comes to lean-back experiences. Studies from Statista in 2016 show that average user interaction time is 3 times higher on TV than it is on smartphone. In other words, TV has a unique ability to engage deeply with your users, with longer session length. And these statistics are confirmed with the performance of Google Play Movies on Android TV. If you look at Google Play Movies in 2016, the average session length were 2.5 times higher on Android TV than they were on smartphone. And more interestingly, if you look at the average revenue per user, it was 5 times higher on Google Play Movies on Android TV than it is on smartphone. So we've seen that TV gives longer interactions, higher revenue per user, but it also influences positively retention. These data shared by Netflix compare the importance of different form factors at sign-up and after 6 months. And what it tells us is really interesting to me. While 80% of the acquisition takes place outside of TV, TV becomes the primary device for 2/3 of the users after 6 months. According to Netflix, the usage of a living room device directly translates into an increase in retention and obviously lifetime value. This means that for you, early on, very early in the user journey, you need to encourage and promote the activation of a living room device in order to increase your lifetime value.
Great. Now that we've gone through the various reasons why you should have an important living room strategy, we're going to look at ways that you can specifically improve engagement on Android TV. And one of the big announcements that we've made recently is Google Assistant is coming to Android TV. As you heard from I/O this week, Google Assistant's very, very important to Google. Every single one of our products is being touched with Google Assistant. We believe, specifically on TV, this brings a new opportunity to increase engagement and bring your best content right in front of your users. We are going to show you all of the capabilities that come with Assistant on TV and what makes it a unique opportunity to improve discoverability and, as a result, the engagement with your content. So beyond connecting people to information, the Assistant will also help a wide range of our developers complete many kinds of actions for users that will occur across contexts and devices. Any assistant should be able to help you in 2 ways. Just do what you need with direct actions, or connect you to an expert with conversation actions. So what we've done with Google Assistant is we've built on 17 years of history of helping our users. The Assistant is made for our user, their own Google. It has 4 elements: conversational, personal, fast, and fun. The Google Assistant allows you to talk or text with Google in a natural way. Think of it as you're having a conversation with Google in order to help you get things done in your own world. So before we dive in On the details of Assistant with TV, we want to discuss that the core of this product integration is your content feed, which works not just on Assistant, but across all of your surfaces. We hope that our development partners will maximize their content reach across all surfaces and products that enable our consumers to engage with this content. By taking one feed of catalog metadata and merchandising, we will see the experience that provides the following 4 things: consistency of search across all Google products and services, visibility as an option for content titles available across all these multiple services that you see here, customizability of the metadata for content available on a specific service, and merchandising across all these multiple platforms and products. You'll see here that the reach goes across Assistant, Android TV, the Google Home app, and search results as well. That one feed populates all of these different surfaces which your users touch Google on. So how does this relate specifically to Android TV? Well, Assistant allows you to do 3 things on TV. First, you have discoverability. Assistant on TV is all about content and control. By searching using Assistant on TV, users can find their favorite shows and services with a simple, OK, Google, show me sci-fi shows. And suddenly, you'll see all the different sci-fi shows that are available across all of your different apps. Secondly, you have engagement. So once you have an app that is already installed, Assistant is a great way to re-engage the audience by invoking very specific shows to play and content that lives within your apps. Pick your favorite show, ask Assistant to play it, and get ready to watch. OK, Google, continue watching, put your favorite show's name in there. Finally, Assistant gives you control on TV. You want to give users the most that they can do in control. So by using a Media Session API to make easier playback control, you can say things like, OK, Google, pause playback, or OK, Google, go back 5 minutes, or even more informational things such as, OK, Google, when does this air? So in order to do this integration, we have 2 specific parts. Part 1 is transport controls for voice control of playback. And then part 2 is metadata for Assistant's intelligent responses.
Thank you. So as we saw, thanks to a more natural voice integration, Google Assistant will allow you to improve how your user will discover and engage with your content. But there's another update on Android TV, and for those who were in the keynote on Wednesday, we were really excited to announce the launch of the new Android TV Home experience. This new Android TV interface will be available on all Android TV devices that will upgrade to O starting this summer. So let's take a look at it. Before I jump into the slide, how many of you here have an Android TV app? OK. So you're not just here because it's too hot outside. That's good. And how many of you are just thinking about building one? OK, so it's already convinced people. OK, good. So you're probably familiar with this interface, which, like a lot of other device, like streaming device in the market, is what we call app-centric, which means that really the app are the center of the experience. But since we launched Android TV 3 years ago, we realized that things were changing and users were like consuming entertainment differently in the living room. Well, of course, we realized that the user gets more and more content. They have more and more content available, and it's increasingly difficult for them to make a decision on what to watch. They have to compare content sources from live TV to SVOD to TVOD to UGC, and also compare content provider, go into the app, browse the content, go out and change provider. That's increasingly difficult. This is why with Android O, we have completely redefined the experience on the home screen of Android TV. We made it channel-based, but more importantly, we made it content-centric. This means that we're giving more and more prominence to your content in the discovery experience. We basically want the user to spend more time watching your content as opposed to simply like looking for it. Not only we think that this will significantly improve discovery, We also think that this will impact positively the way you're going to re-engage with your user, to get them to come back to your app and watch your content. So let's take a closer look at it. So at the top, you have quick access to the search functionality, which now becomes Google Assistant, as Serge was explaining. Just below, you have the favorite app row, which basically allows users to launch into their favorite app really quickly. On the left, you can see, on the right, sorry, a red button, which is basically the app view page, which kind of includes all the apps that are installed into the device. But here's when it becomes interesting. Continuing down, you have like several rows that we call channels. These channels are made of cards that we call programs that basically give maximum prominence to your content. These channels are the core of the new home screen experience. Each developer will be able to create his own channel and benefit from a greater real estate to promote their content. When a user selects one program, well, obviously, it launches the app and immediately starts the playback. But interestingly, if the user decides to press the back button, instead of coming back to the home page of Android TV, it will be taken to the higher level screen of your app and continue browsing within your own app. As a developer, of course, you have full control of what you put in your channel. You can decide what content you're going to put, what programs you're going to put, what order you want to do to show them, all the content metadata, as well as the channel names and the branding. One of the features I'm more excited about is video previews that are played, as you can see here, that are played whenever one particular program is on focus. As a developer, you can decide what to include in this video preview, like live TV, either trailers or kind of video previews. By default, only one primary channel will be displayed into the Android TV interface. But as a developer, you can decide to add additional channels that user will be able to kind of add into their interface according to their preferences. So let's say you are, for example, a paid TV provider, and you create your primary channel that aggregates all the best content you have. You can also think about creating additional secondary channels based on like specific topics like sports, kids content, or series that the user will be able to add into his interface according to his preferences. So as mentioned earlier, Android TV is, of course, about discovery. The new Android TV Home is about discovery, but it's also a lot about re-engagement. We really want to make sure that your user can come back to your app and consume their content again and again. This is why we created what we call the Watch Next row. All the content that the user has been previously engaged with will be consolidated, aggregated into this Watch Next channel that will always appear in second position below the favorite app row. Studies show that a large majority of watch sessions are linked to previously engaged content, and this is like the whole thinking around it. As a developer, this will help you drive re-engagement and improve your retention, as your content will be seen in this channel whenever, for example, a user plays a video and doesn't finish it, or a new episode of a series is newly available, or just simply because the user kind of add your content into the watch list. So in the previous two sections, we gave you an overview of the most recent evolution of Android TV. If you think about it, both Google Assistant and the new Android TV home screen aims at improving discoverability of the content, but more importantly, re-engagement longer term with your existing customers. But beyond these two platform evolutions, there are a lot of things that you can do inside your app in order to improve the experience. But remember, as a form factor, TV is unique in the way we interact with it. That the use of a remote control makes it often quite tedious and difficult to kind of navigate. This means that you should pay even more attention to kind of making sure that the experience is as frictionless as possible at each critical point of your user journey. So typically, identification, discovery, and payment. So let's start with authentication. While identification is obviously a precondition for the personalization of your experience inside of your app, it's also a critical moment where developers like you lose a lot of users. That's why we introduced a couple of years ago Smart Lock for Passwords in order to remove this friction. So by integrating with Smart Lock for Passwords, you can automatically sign up users into your app using the credential that they have already saved on other Android device or on Chrome. So in this example with MyCanal, they has automatically recognized and logged in the user that was accessing the app for the first time. This is especially relevant knowing that, as we said, doing the identification process on TV with a remote control is particularly painful. So now let's talk about discovery. As we all know, discovery is a very complex process that involves internal, external factors that will determine what the user wants to watch, but also how precise is the idea of what they want to watch. So if you're commuting, it won't be similar to if you are nicely, comfortably sitting on your sofa. How much time do you have? How many people are part of the watching group? Your mood and your mindset at a particular time will determine directly the discovery and position you differently in what we call the certainty spectrum. So across the industry, research tells us that when deciding what to watch, user operates in 4 different modalities: find, select, browse, and surf. Often people can jump from one modality to the other, like as soon as, for example, some content finishes or a new person comes into the watching group, etc. But the goal for you is to make sure that your app addresses each of these modalities with a minimum effort. So let's start with search. We estimate that around 20% of the viewing comes from a search functionality. So that means that you should there's real value for you to kind of make sure that this works. Beyond content and titles, you should make sure that the search functionality always also takes into account all your metadata, such as actors, categories, genres, etc., etc. Are you able to address unsolved queries? We realize that a lot of users are making queries that actually don't lead to any results. There's something to be done around it. Also, could you improve the search experience using what we call natural language processing in order to make the experience even more kind of natural? Similarly, make sure that the user has the ability to access his favorite content with functionalities such as DVR, watch list, or add to favorites. And moving down to the certainty spectrum, there are different ways to inspire your users so they can find their content, the usage of kind of most popular collection, content category, genre, etc., and even like more editorial collection that can really inspire a user on what to watch. So think about all these different modalities and think within your app what you can do in order to address each of them. So once the user shows some interest in a particular content, you want to make sure that he also has access to all the relevant information that would help me take the decision to actually watch this content. So of course, title, but also a short and long description. Don't undermine the importance of beautiful images and video trailers. Finally, third-party ratings, review are also critical when it comes to taking a decision. Another aspect that I find interesting is this idea of making your experience even more linear inside your app. So the benefits of on-demand consumption is undeniable. People are no longer forced to kind of come back to their house, rush into their kind of living room to watch their favorite program. They can just take their replay and on-demand service and watch it. However, we believe that users still love what linear TV has to offer. If you turn out your TV, you can be passive, you get some movie images, you enjoy the serendipity of kind of discovery, and you also enjoy the fluidity of the experience. As a result, as an on-demand content provider, you should think about all the way you can recreate certain aspects of this kind of linear experience. Like by adding functionalities such as watch next, that are famously at the origin of binge watching, related content, but also picture-in-picture and background playing and animated carousel. All this functionality really makes the experience within your app linear again. Last but not least, obviously, payments. With the rise of millennials and cord cutters, many media partners have kind of launched their own what we call direct-to-consumer experiences and service, which means that now all these partners need to kind of handle the payments directly. As mentioned earlier, more than in any other form factor, friction on TV can be prohibitive. Being such a critical step of your user journey, you really want to make sure that payment is handled correctly and is as simple as possible. By integrating with Google Play Billing, users can complete their payment in only 3 clicks. They can benefit from having already their kind of details saved into the account and benefit from having the different options in terms of form of payments, including credit cards, PayPal, and DCB. Subscription is a huge opportunity for subscribers, and over the last year, in Google Play, we've doubled our revenue associated to subscription. As a consequence, we've multiplied the number of useful tools and functionality inside the console in order to manage for you this subscription. Subscription dashboard that was presented yesterday, flexible payment periods, and of course, promotional tools that include intro pricing and free trial. All these aspects should, again, remove the friction within the TV experience to execute the payment.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to attend our talk today. Hopefully, you've learned a couple of things, and we've showed you a little bit of how to achieve success on Android TV. But before we jump into the questions, we wanted to leave you with a few key takeaways around our talk. So first, we explored how Android and Play can empower our living room strategy through an overview of the platform and how we are positioned to succeed with the growth of the ecosystem of both Android and our OEMs and Play and our app developers. We showed you how having the right living room strategy is important for app success. We showed you how this strategy shapes deeper interactions, higher retention, and improved lifetime value. Finally, we showed you some of the best practices that we recommend to drive engagement and grow revenue. Some examples of these integrations were for Google Assistant, Android O for content discovery, frictionless sign-up, and other various user experiences in your app. So thank you for coming, and we'll take some questions now.